Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I will get into the Raiders training camp practice news and notes at the very end of today's show, but I wanted to talk about Anthony Richardson because the Indianapolis Colts quarterback, he was benched the other day for Daniel Jones, and there's been a lot of speculation of whether or not the Colts could potentially move on from the former number 4 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. And anytime big-time NFL news like this happens, I always get questions. I'm sure you guys see it on social media. Should the Raiders go out and trade for Richardson? I'm going to tell you all this right now. I don't think it's crazy to talk about this at all. Quite frankly, when I was first asked this back earlier in the week, I was like, dude, I don't really know if that's going to happen. I'm somebody that I am confident in Cam Miller being able to step up and be a backup quarterback because Aidan O'Connell is a big old shrug emoji right now. And because of that, I believe in Anthony Richardson's talent if you're willing to project it for the long haul. But let's talk about why this isn't a crazy thing to talk about. I'll also say it's not impossible for the Raiders to make this trade. So, the Colts named Daniel Jones the starter over Anthony Richardson. And benching Richardson to me means that his time is likely done in Indianapolis. The fact that he was the number 4 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, there's going to be teams that show interest in him. And the question is, what exactly does he go for in a trade? Does he go for a trade like a Joe Milton, another very athletic quarterback, but Milton was drafted severely much later? Does he go for a guy like a Trey Lance type of deal where Lance was drafted at number 3 overall? The Cowboys gave up a 4th-round pick for him. My question to you is this: type trade or type pass? Should the Raiders go out and trade for Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson? I'm going to hit you with an early YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. My answer coming up here in just a second. Everything depends on price tag, but I will say I am on board for the idea of the Raiders going out and trading for Anthony Richardson, not just because of Richardson, but because of what we have here on this Las Vegas Raiders team. But let me be very clear. I'm going to give this one only one just win, baby, in terms of how likely it's going to happen. I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's very likely, but I will be somebody up here that says that it's not impossible, and I don't think it's a bad idea for the Raiders to entertain this idea depending on the price tag. The first reason of why I think that this ultimately could end up happening, Aidan O'Connell has been struggling. You see it. I see it. You know who else sees it? Pete Carroll. This is what Pete had to say recently about AOC. He literally said it this week. I thought Aidan O'Connell continued to a little bit, but we're not quite as fast when he's playing. We don't play as quick from huddle to the snap. Still trying to work that out. And he made a poor choice on the throw for the pick. Unfortunately, it was at a crucial time. That was tough. Just the guy was covered, and if he had to throw it away or take off, we would have preferred that. I mean, think about that final quote. You know, Pete Carroll is wanting Aidan O'Connell to take off and potentially run it. That's not going to happen with AOC. And I'm a little bit frustrated, not so much in Aidan O'Connell, but his development, because I feel like this season he has taken a step back. And, you know, I get it. He's had different offensive coordinators from a Josh McDaniels to a Luke Getsy. But those numbers that y'all are looking at up there on the board, they're not very good numbers. And that one touchdown that he threw, he should be counting his blessings that he was able to go back out there in that first preseason game in the third quarter up against a bunch of backups and get that other opportunity. The second reason here of why I would say that a trade for Anthony Richardson isn't impossible is because of what Pete Carroll said about Richardson back in 2023. And, you know, Pete said that he was a fan of him. I mean, look at this quote. This is a very interesting quote from Pete Carroll back in 2023. Shoot. We flew all the way out there to go see him. Not just to see him, but to be around him and to watch him and how he handled himself and his program with all the hype that was going on. We gave him tremendous consideration. He might be the best athlete that's ever been drafted at that position. He's arguably that. So we had to definitely consider that. I think what's really important about that quote for Pete Carroll is Pete's not somebody that I think beats around the bush. I think Pete is a very he's a 73-year-old man. I don't know how many 73-year-old guys are sitting there not telling you exactly what's on their mind. And I think that's what Pete does. But the fact that Pete said that in a year where Geno Smith, y'all know how much Pete Carroll loves Geno Smith, the fact that they are telling you that they at least entertained that idea when Geno Smith was the quarterback of that team, that tells me a lot about what Pete thinks of a guy like Anthony Richardson. But I also think it's what he thinks of a guy like Geno Smith, because you need to have a good quarterback to have a quarterback come in like Rich and then learn behind Geno. Geno is a professional, and Anthony Richardson needs to learn from a professional like Geno Smith. Luckily for us, though, we also have a bunch of professionals in that coaching staff, in that front office, and this reason right here is why if you're a Raiders fan, you should entertain the idea of them going out and getting Richardson, because I don't know if there's a quarterback on the planet that has a higher upside than Richardson. That's a true statement. Like, you talk about upside. Josh Allen's got great upside, right? Patrick Mahomes, great upside. Lamar Jackson, great upside. If this guy could figure out how to throw a football and develops into a good quarterback, go look at Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming. 54% completion percentage, but he got better and better and better because he had a guy like Brian Dable that did what he could to make the most out of him. We got Tom Brady, who has done a phenomenal job in his own career, being able to get the most out of his players, being able to get the most around the guys around him. John Spytek, look what he did for a dude like Baker Mayfield. Hell, when nobody believed in Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes down to Tampa Bay. They go out there, they win a Super Bowl. Pete Carroll, talking about a career from Geno Smith, really resurrected that guy's career. Russell Wilson, nobody believed in him. Made the most out of that. Chip Kelly has been able to win national championships. He's also been able to develop multiple different quarterbacks. And if you believe that he's a smart X's and O's guy, which is exactly what he is, then you invest in him. What about Greg Olson, regarded as one of the best quarterback coaches in the NFL, has worked with guys underneath like Sean McVay, has worked with Matthew Stafford, has worked with a Derek Carr, and he has worked with a lot of solid quarterbacks. I'll also say this, you want a cherry on top? I think it's important to note that the senior personnel executive, Anthony Patch, and also VP of player personnel, Brandon Hunt, they come from the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? The Philadelphia organization looked at a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. I sat up here and I said Jalen Hurts can't throw a football. Jalen Hurts, when he was in college, they literally wouldn't let him throw because he had to take time to develop. And if I'm sitting back there and I'm going, I just took two people from Philadelphia and helped turn Jalen Hurts into a top 10 quarterback now, like, that's the same style that you're going to go with a quarterback like Anthony Richardson. So you bring somebody in from Philadelphia, two guys that really helped out and were right-hand man to Howie Roseman, and then you combine it with our coaching staff, our front office. We have the right personnel to work on a quarterback like Richardson. You just got to give him time. And with a quarterback like Geno Smith, who's already basically got 3 years on a deal, you're going to have Richardson have plenty of time. And he's younger than Cam Miller. And he's younger than Aidan O'Connell. That's some serious upside there. So I will always say this on this program. You will become a smarter Raiders fan by watching this show. You don't have to agree with me. Quite frankly, I don't want you to always agree with me. But I want Raiders fans out there to at least think about possibilities and ask each other questions. Healthy conversations. And that's what I want to bring here. Always healthy conversations. So if you want to become a smarter Raiders fan, if you want to be the smartest Raiders fan in your fan group, hit that sub button, turn on those notifications. Coming up next here on the show, I do have my Anthony Richardson trade idea because, again, if we're talking about the trade, you got to understand what exactly it could potentially cost. And I'll get into this in just a moment. But a huge shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. And I am so happy that PrizePicks is back because that means football's back. And my life is so much better when football is going on. And I know I'm not the only one. Preseason football is underway. College football is here. So don't miss any of the action this season on PrizePicks. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks run your game, and if you're trying to run my game, this is a lineup that I created. It is important to note that you can't just go only Raiders players. You do have to throw in another player from another team. And I decided to roll with him because I know that the Bengals are going to be losing, or maybe not losing. Their defense is going to be giving up some points. But also what I love is if you look at week 1, you're going to see Dak Prescott. This is a max discount. If he throws for more than half a passing yard, you get a win there. I was actually sitting late last night, and I'll try to get my other lineups that I put together on PrizePicks. I'll try to show you guys, but I have this one in. I also, K-State, they play Iowa State. Like, that quarterback for K-State, he's got half a passing yard. Like, if you're going to sit down and you're going to watch a football game and you have an opportunity to put some extra money in your pocket, what I really love is you're going to sit there for 2, 3, 4 hours, however long you're doing it, and you're going to be so much more invested in that game. In today's day and age, it's really hard to entertain yourself for the price and also the ability to put money in your pocket. So again, this link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. I love PrizePicks. I think the nation, y'all are going to love PrizePicks as well. And you know what else I love? A good old-fashioned trade idea involving Anthony Richardson, and I'm going to go with Aidan O'Connell. And this would be my offer to the Indianapolis Colts. Quite frankly, if they're moving on from Richardson, I actually think that Aidan O'Connell, low-key, would be a really good backup quarterback to Daniel Jones on that team. Full transparency, I do. And I saw some people offering, like my guy Goat, he was saying like a 3rd and a 4th round pick. That's a little bit too much for my blood. If Trey Lance went for a 4th round pick, I think that Lance, again, 49ers gave up 3 first-round picks for him. I think that you're going to see a deal somewhere in between what Trey Lance went for, a 4th-round pick, and then also a player like Joe Milton, who also is extremely, extremely athletic. So this would be my offer to Indy. And the reason why I'm willing to throw in a 5th-round pick is because the Raiders are going to get extra comp picks, and they're going to get an extra 5th-round comp pick. That 5th-round pick there, that's what that's going to be. That's either going to be the comp pick or it's going to be the 5th-round pick that we already have. But no matter what, we will still hold on to that 5th. And if you're swapping Richardson for Aidan O'Connell and then you're throwing in a 5th, to me personally, I think it's a good value here for the silver and black. But I want to know from all of y'all, who wins this trade? Type IND for the Indianapolis Colts. Or if you think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, I want you to type LV down below. Can't wait to see what your answers are. I'm going to sit up here and go, that's a win for both organizations, because the moment you put Richardson on the bench, he's done in there. And that organization knows that this is probably their final year to put up or shut up, and it's not a great situation. I'm not going to deny it. And some people might not like giving up Aidan O'Connell and a 5th-round pick, but you have to understand what the plan is then. And the plan is, like, AOC doesn't have upside. Richardson has legit upside. It's just you're taking multiple years to develop that quarterback. I'll also say this, like, in terms of Richardson being a fit with the Raiders and why you could also do it. I said it on the live show, and I'll say it again. When you make a trade for a player, you have to think also, like, could he help me out instantly? And I do think that Richardson could help out the Raiders instantly. And the way that I think he could help you out is he's the perfect quarterback for a tush push. And I know some people hate when I call it a tush push. People are like, oh, Mitch, it's a quarterback sneak. But he is a physical quarterback that you'd be able to put under center and really get that play mastered, because the Philadelphia Eagles have mastered it, and being able to extend drives and knowing that you're going to get that first down on 4th and inches, it could be the difference between winning and losing. Go ask Josh Allen and the Bills why they didn't beat the Chiefs last year. They couldn't execute a tush push. Let's figure out a way to do it, and I think Richardson would be a player that could be his instant value right now, and that's a valuable role. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into Raiders training camp practice, and again, very light day at practice, no pads today. They were going through just, light work. It kind of reminded me, it's how I would explain it as, when you go like the first day of school, you show up, and yeah, you're at school, but you're not like really like doing anything. It's kind of like what today was. There was guys out there, like, again, they're going through the motions and whatnot, but it was a very light day at practice overall. In terms of, like, some of the players that were healthy, like, that's kind of what I was looking for. There were 2 players that I was making sure were out there on the field today. The first one was Raheem Mostert. He was back at practice today. I talked about it yesterday on the program that but his daughter was dealing with something, so that was one of the reasons why he missed yesterday's practice. For Kyu Blu Kelly, Kelly was another player that he missed yesterday's practice as well, and Kelly's been somebody that I've been wondering in terms of, like, are they going to be healthy? Are they going to be out there playing in that final preseason game? And Kyu Blu was somebody that also was out there on the practice field today. So the fact that Kelly was out there practicing, the fact that Raheem Mostert was back out there practicing, that's a really good sign. Because to me, I sit back and I go, well, are those 2 players that are going to get some more run? So Raheem Mostert, back at practice today. Kyu Blu Kelly, back at practice today. And then the way that they were using Kyu Blu was they were using him a lot in the nickel. And the fact that they were using him in the nickel, they were also using him on the outside. Like, if you're watching the cornerbacks this week, you got to watch where they're putting Kyu Blu, where exactly they're putting Darian Porter, how is the Cameron Richardson lining up. Like, those are 3 corners I'm going to be looking at very, very closely. Also, Terrell Edmunds, he was getting a lot of work today at free safety, which, I like the idea of us rotating safeties, but I'll still say that Terrell Edmunds, makes me a little bit nervous at free safety. Isaiah Paul-Amel makes me a little bit nervous at free safety. But Edmunds, they want to use him in this Lonnie Johnson Jr. role while he's recovering from that injury that he sustained. But to me, those are the 5 biggest practice notes. And again, a lot of light work today. I don't have a lot of information on practice just because, again, of how light today ultimately went. If you do not know, we will be live for NFL preseason Week 3 matchup. And if anybody is planning on going out to this football game, I just want to remind you of this. Tomorrow, I'm going to be out in Arizona. I'm not going to be in Glendale, but Glendale's about 2 hours from Tucson, and I'm going to be at a restaurant called Desert Shark Tucson, owned and operated by the absolute legend, the Night Devil, a.k.a. Fabian Moreno, and I'm going to be there from 12 to 3, and then after, I'm going to be at Culinary Dropout right next to it. If you're looking for more information on raffles, if you're looking for more information on some of the prizes, some of the giveaways, make sure you follow them and DM them on Instagram at Desert Shark Tucson. There's the address. Let's talk Raiders. Let's have some food. Let's have some beers. Let's have a good time. We've made it. It's been a hell of an offseason. We are so close to Raiders regular season football. And when I get opportunities to shake hands with the nation, the people that take time out of their day to watch this show, I'm fired up about it. Like, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. And I hope that you guys show up tomorrow and really rally.